Hello, I'm Vicky Halls, and I'm delighted to welcome you to the launch of our long-awaited online resource, Cat-Friendly Solutions for Unowned Cats. It's a comprehensive toolkit for all those who work with unowned cats, whether feral, street or community, or pet cats looking for their new homes. Over 10 years ago, we recognised that there was a need for an accessible, practical resource that would represent a one-stop shop for anyone needing information about working with unowned cats. We wanted all of the content to be underpinned by the solid foundations and values that represent iCat Care as an organisation, such as each cat is an individual and there are no blanket rules for all. Different cats need different solutions. We also strongly believe that collaboration, mutual support and care are needed for us to provide all cats with the best possible life experience. As well as the unique content that we created, we also looked at all the information that is out there already, showcasing the best possible advice from other organisations around the world. As your host today, I'll have the pleasure of introducing you to some of the amazing people and organisations who shared their knowledge and supported us in the creation of this website content. Thank you once again to you all. With the help of a few very important cats, I'll be taking you on a whistle-stop tour of the website. Improving cat welfare by better understanding cats' individual needs is at the heart of International Cat Care's mission. With an estimated 300 million plus unowned cats, the impact of work in this area is huge for both species, cat and human. It's the scale of the challenge that draws people to want to make a difference. And now we're seeing many who are pioneering new approaches and thinking. In parallel, cats are becoming the pet of the future, so it's never been a more crucial time for their species to be better understood. We all recognise that cats are complex, and our continual journey of discovery is both fascinating and confusing at times. This unique resource goes a long way in helping iCat Care deliver its mission, but we need people like you to make it a reality, applying new knowledge, testing ideas, and sharing best practice with others. Together, we can spread cat-friendly principles across the world. Become part of our community, our family, and feed back to us. Every single piece of feedback is useful, none too small, none silly. To be truly cat-friendly, perhaps it's time for humans to adapt. And we invite you to join our cat-friendly movement and evolve for cats. Let's have a look at the new website content. So here we are on the homepage, Cat-Friendly Solutions for Unowned Cats, past the invitation that brought you here today, and the world map, where you've been pinning your photos and messages of support. Each individual section on the website has a separate button you can click on. Here is the first section about why International Cat Care want to help unowned cats, with a video explaining our journey to where we are today. The next section is the different needs of cats, which is a whole section about understanding that different cats need different solutions. And we talk about working as part of the bigger picture and how important it is to step back, take a breath, and plan for effective interventions. Then we go to the section on cat-friendly solutions for feral, street and community cats. And this is all about humane cat population management, TNR, trap, neuter, return. And it includes lots of information and a step-by-step guide and videos on how you go about doing this from the planning stage to the implementation and management afterwards. The final section is cat-friendly homing, all about the care of unowned pet cats. It covers every aspect of their intake, care
and eventual outcomes. Lots of practical information there too.
To further support and inspire your own learning, we've created an introductory online course aptly named Bringing Cat-Friendly Solutions to Life. Beautifully simple, you'll have the certificate within hours. The course takes the material from the website and brings it into the real world by following the lives and experiences of 3 very different cats called No Name, Kitty, and Magpie. Why don't I let them introduce themselves? I hope you enjoyed that preview. Please do the course and let me know what you think. Let's return to the website content and look at the 4 sections in turn in a little more detail. The first section is about why international cat care is helping unowned cats. Here we are explaining why we want to support you to help cats.
We started with just a pen and a piece of paper. We said, right, okay, what are the most important things we need to know here? What do we need to consider? And I think the first thing we wrote down was, okay, here we are, cats are not small dogs. And cats are not small people with furry coats either. We thought, no, we need to encourage people to actually learn about the cat, to see what they had that was so unique, that wasn't dog and it wasn't human. And the other thing we wrote was, cats are complicated. There's a lot we don't know.
International Cat Care's vision is to help all cats, owned and unowned, because not only do we understand cats, but we are used to pulling together information, bringing in new information, and putting that together in a way we hope that's practical and that people will be able to use it. One of the main things about what we're trying to explain to people is that cats are very different. Cats are not the same. You've not got one thing. You've not got this cat that many people might think is a cuddly thing that sits on your lap. Some cats don't want anything to do with people, but we should respect them and help those cats.
The materials and the content is incredibly important. A lot of the stuff is piecemeal out there. Lots of people are working towards these things, but bringing it all together as a kind of repository in a sort of a nice centered place where all that material can be accessed by people, especially people all over the world who are dealing with much more challenging situations, is really important. And I think it's so important to get those messages out there.
I'm very excited about this whole project, and I have been excited since 2011. And I think it's game changing. I really do. I think if everybody gets on board and understands what we're trying to do and gets what we're trying to do and supports it and engages with it on the basis that we're just trying to love cats in the way they want and need to be loved, which looks a bit different, but it could make a massive difference.
Now we move on to the next section of the website called The Different Needs of Domestic Cats, which poses the question, are all cats the same? We suggest that there is a lifestyle spectrum for the cat, from the free-living feral that doesn't want to live with us to the pet cat that does. We made these distinctions because it's important for us to know this when we try to help them. Different cats need different solutions. You will see that we added an additional new category, and we call these cats the in-betweeners, not perfectly adapted to free living or to be a pet. In our new website-based course, Magpie is an in-betweener, and he needed a rather less conventional place that he could call home. You can find out more about Magpie when you do the course. So, with these very special in-betweener cats in mind, I have the pleasure of introducing you to Naima. I wanted to talk to her as it was a great opportunity for us to talk in-betweeners. Hi Naima, lovely to see you and thanks for speaking to me today. Tell me about your experience with your in-betweener, Jarvis.
Okay, hello Vicky, thank you for having me. So, well, I arrived in the south of France in 2017, a bit of more than 3 years ago. And a few months after having settled down, I've seen a cat in the neighborhood that clearly needed help. Because he was limping, his coat was unkempt, and he was scratching himself all over, and he was skinny. So yes, well, it was heartbreaking. So I decided I was going to do something for him, and I started to feed him good quality food, but he was very fearful. So, it was like, okay, I put down the food and I go away, and then, okay, he's eating, because there were other cats in the neighborhoods, but that were clearly cared for, like nice coats and big cats and everything. And after about 3 months, he started trusting me. So I had the possibility to deworm him, which did a lot of good. And when he came back to perfect health, we realized that maybe we could neuter him, because he was an entire male. And so after roughly 6 months, he trusted us enough for us to keep him and have him neutered. And so we kept him overnight, and then we released him. And now, he trusts us, and he's fed twice a day, and he's very happy to stroll about in the neighborhood. Yes, that's our experience so far with him.
Bless, he's very lucky to have you around, I think, from what you're saying. How important do you think it is for people who work with unowned cats to recognise those that can't live as pets in a conventional sense?
I think it's very, very important, because I think that there are lots of cats that will be happy to have good quality food and, predictable resources, actually, but that some of them will be wanting cuddles, but others are less socialized to humans. And those ones, they are happy to have the resources, but they don't need close interaction. If they don't want it, then they don't want it, and it's perfectly fine. And for me, we're here to help them and provide resources for them, but not to impose on them. So I think you can see the difference over time.
I completely agree with you, Naima. And I think this is the key, that it's putting them in control of what they want, rather than us imposing what we want to do to them. Based on your experience, would you recommend people to adopt in-betweeners? And if so, what sort of qualities do their carers need?
It depends on the situation, and also it depends on the expectation of the carer. So if the carer is happy to have a cat in their garden, to provide shelter and to provide food that is sheltered as well, then they can have this relationship. But if they want a cat that would like close interaction, I think they need to be able to differentiate between cats, and adopt the ones that are more suitable. And also, I think it depends on the household situation, you know, the environment.
I think that's the key, isn't it, Naima? Each cat is an individual.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Naima. Thank you, champion of in-betweeners. Before you go, do you have any messages for our colleagues out there about checking out the website or joining our Evolve for Cats community?
Yes, I think the website is very good. I think it provides information in a concise way. So it's good, but everything is there. And if you want to dig more, there are resources. So so I think it's very good to check it, and then maybe to get in touch with International Cat Care about how to do more for the cats, because I mean, I'm passionate about cats, and I think that the scale of the problem of unknown cats, I've seen there's the estimation is 300 millions. So it means that we have 300 millions individuals to care for and to provide for, because, you know, they are domestic animals. So we put them out there. I mean, we, the human species. So I think we should do something for them.
Thank you so much, Naima. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
I wonder if any of you recognise cats like Jarvis. This takes us to the third section on the new website content about feral, street and community cats. This is a really comprehensive and practical section for all of you working with feral and street cats. Now here's Ellie from ICAM talking about the importance of humane cat population management.
Hello, I am Dr. Ellie Hebe and I am the Director of the International Companion Animal or ICAM Coalition. We are a group of organisations, including International Cat Care, that come together to share best practice on companion animal population management around the world, and that includes both dog and cat population management. The importance of managing unowned cats is growing, not least because their numbers appear to be growing in some countries. So in those countries where roaming dog populations are being brought under control, we start to see niches open up for cats, and so their numbers can start to climb. There also appears to be a global trend towards pet cats rather than pet dogs, as people become more urbanised and they work long hours. So this could signal the opportunity for more adoptive homes for cats, but unfortunately it also means more potential for the abandonment of cats. Now, dogs catch the greatest attention when looking at human health and safety, not least because rabies is headline news and dogs are an effective reservoir species for the rabies virus. It can circulate happily within an unvaccinated dog population, as coronavirus does amongst people. But thankfully, rabies doesn't do so well within cat populations. So cats can become infected and become sick and die, but they are what is called a dead-end host. The virus tends to die with them and tends not to be transmitted from cat to cat to cat before the infected cat dies. But cats can transmit rabies to people. So they're not irrelevant in the rabies picture, and as we look to the renewed 0 by 30 campaign to eliminate rabies, we can see that the vaccination of cats will play a role. And of course, the welfare need is really clear in unowned cats. So cats are fabulous breeders, producing a lot of kittens that when born on the street can have really poor survival. In fact, 75% mortality is not uncommon for litters of unowned cats. And suffering and dying kittens can be extremely upsetting to see and extremely motivating for unowned cat population management. To prevent these deaths and the suffering involved is a very valid aim. So we can see that managing cat populations is important. The next question is, how do we do that? And in particular, how do we do that with unowned cats, who tend to suffer the greatest welfare concerns? And this is where the feral, street and community cat pages on the International Cat Care website comes in. What we have here is a collation of key resources and information about trap, neuter and return, TNR, a humane method of managing unowned cat populations that allow cats to be returned to the environment but without the capacity to breed, avoiding those many kitten deaths and slowly bringing the unowned cat population down and under control. And when TNR is combined with interventions that focus on owned cats, together they achieve that overall cat population management that we're aiming for. What I particularly value in this website is that it presents the information in a series of logical steps: theory, planning, and actual implementation. And these are digestible steps, ensuring you don't get lost in information overload. And this is particularly important when we consider that for much of the audience, English will not be their first language. So this is aiming to be a truly global resource. We also have some great videos, in particular when looking at some of the technical information around subjects such as trapping and handling, when text alone is unlikely to be sufficient. And although the text on the website covers a lot of ground, there are links throughout the website taking you to additional resources that cover the subjects in more depth. So there's plenty of opportunities to stretch your learning further. So from my ICAM perspective of wanting to share best practice in cat population management to a global audience, this website from International Cat Care really ticks the box, and I'm genuinely excited about its potential impact for unowned cats and the communities that they live in.
There are so many of you in all parts of the world that are unsung heroes, working tirelessly and often in really difficult conditions to trap, neuter and return street and community cats and keep populations at a level that promotes good welfare. Marinda is one of those unsung heroes, doing an amazing job in South Africa. Here she is talking to me about her work. Hi Marinda, thank you so much for joining me today. I wanted to talk to you about your TNR program, and I wonder if you can start by just telling us how it all began and why you got involved.
Thank you so much, Vicky, for having me here today. It's lovely to be able to share a little bit of what we do here in South Africa with the feral cats. So my story goes way back to about 2009. I did not used to be a cat person at all. I knew nothing about cats. So in 2009, an unowned cat showed up at my office place, and I basically took pity upon her. I started feeding her, and she remained there. And after a short while, some kittens appeared, and so the cats became more and more and more. And I realized that I would have to do something about this situation. I cannot just let them continue breeding. So I started reading a little bit on the internet about what to do, because this cat is not really socialized to people. So how can one manage to get it to a vet for sterilization purposes? And then I stumbled upon this term, TNR, trap, neuter, return, which is basically a way in which you trap feral cats, you take them to the vet for neutering, and then you return them to the location where they were found. And that immediately proved to me that this is what I'm going to have to do with these cats to stop them from just continuing to breed. So my first trap that I had was just a locally made one. I managed to trap and take a couple of cats to the vet like that. And then through the vet, I managed to get a live humane trap, which I then started using. My colony started stabilizing. And in the end, I managed to TNR about 50 cats at my original colony. When the cats are taken to the vets, they are not only neutered, but also the tip of their left ear is removed. They also get rabies vaccinated, and we also apply to them an ecto and endoparasite treatment before we put them back on the streets. So yeah, basically between 2009 and about 2015, I managed to TNR about 50 cats. Then in 2015, tragedy struck. My father tragically passed away, And that shattered my whole world. And so then I decided, well, I have to do something, not for myself, but for the cats also. So I dedicated the project to my father, which led to us in 2016, myself and 3 other ladies got together, and we basically started Project TNR Retrigard, where we started getting some of the community members involved. Businesses and people started contacting us and asked that they had been feeding at their premises for a long, long time, but they did not know what to do, how to deal with these cats. So we started going out and assisting them, trapping the cats humanely, having them neutered and putting them back where they belonged on the streets at the work premises. So yeah, the long and the short is that's basically how we got started. It's been nearly 10 years now that we've been doing this. My cat is greeting me there in the back, saying hello. Yeah, so one builds a relationship with these cats, even though one mostly cannot touch them, one does build a relationship with them. We currently feed cats in a couple of spots all over town, and it's amazing to see when they recognize the vehicle that they literally come running towards us for that little bit of food that we provide. So yeah, TNR happened into my life quite unexpectedly. Cats literally changed my world for the better. It is amazing they are amazing, fascinating creatures. And yeah, well, I haven't looked back. I enjoy every single moment of working with the cats.
Based on your experience, if you had to give any advice to people around the world who are concerned about their local cat population and want to help, I mean, what would you say?
So we have to treat them in the best way possible that we can. And that is where TNR is such a wonderful option for these unowned, free roaming cats. I happen to be in a privileged position to also work at a vet practice. And I must say, many of the feral cats look sometimes even better than owned house cats, which really makes my heart happy and warm to see that. Yeah, I would say be their voice, stand up for them, and our motto is that every cat matters.
Absolutely, that's brilliant advice, Marinda. That really is good. So thank you so much, Marinda. Thank you on behalf of cats for everything that you do, and long may your work continue. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Vicky, and yeah, thank you to International Cat Care for all that you do and for educating us and being there and always being willing to provide help and assistance from far and far away.
Feeling inspired? Let's see how cat-friendly we can make our world by the end of this session. If you haven't done so already, please go to the website and see our map. Start now, it's really simple. Follow the link that you see on the screen now to show your commitment. Let your country, region or town light up and leave a note of support, post a photo, tell us about your work, or commit to evolve the cats. Whatever you want to say, go to the map as soon as possible, as I'll be looking at it again at the end of the event. In the meantime, let's see how it looks now. So let's have a look. My goodness. There are pins everywhere, as you can see. New Zealand, Australia, the Philippines, Hong Kong, Indonesia, South Africa, South America, and look at Europe and the United States. Absolutely amazing. Let's see how many posts in total we've got. 618 posts. That's wonderful. Thank you. And hello to everyone that's actually put a post on the map. That is brilliant. Let's have a look. All over the world with some lovely pictures, some great messages. Very exciting to see. Lovely to see there are so many of you out there doing amazing work with unowned cats and just saying hello to each other. This is great. Let's see if we can get from 618 to near 1,000 by the end of the launch. That would be absolutely amazing. So if you haven't put your pin on already, put it on now. Now we move on to the fourth and final section of the website called Cat Friendly Homing. This is the part of the website that focuses specifically on unowned pet cats. This is full of useful and practical information to help those caring for unowned pet cats, whether in homing centres or foster homes, to treat each one as an individual, find out as much as possible about each one, and always focus on their outcome. Any homing centre must always be part of the journey for cats and not a prolonged destination. Here is Lindsay from Battersea Dogs and Cats Home here in the UK, talking about a commitment to cat-friendly homing principles. Hi Lindsay, it's lovely to be talking to you today.
Hi Vicky, and you.
Oh, thank you. In the development of cat-friendly homing, you've always been very generous with your feedback and your insight. When did we first meet? Do you remember?
I think it was 2014, I believe. And it wasn't long before that, if I'm remembering correctly, that this whole idea and concept of your life's work was a glorious idea that you scribbled down on a napkin in a restaurant, if I remember correctly.
That's right. It was about 2011 when that happened. And there
Yes.
was years of a lot of sort of wandering around thinking, gosh, let's get this formulated into an idea, definitely.
Yeah.
So can you tell me what changes you've made since you've been with Battersea and your catteries, and what impact they've had on cat welfare and the number of cats you've helped?
Yes, definitely. So I think as soon as I had my first meeting with you, I started learning and changing some of the things we did here at Battersea. And back then, even though, you know, the program has evolved so much, all of the fundamental principles existed then. I think the ones that had the biggest impact were creating and implementing a really robust stress management program. That was probably the single biggest impact, without a doubt. Cats settled much faster, and they showed us who they were much quicker. Treating each cat as an individual, certainly, and recognizing that not every cat is well socialized to people, and what a good life looks like from a cat's perspective may not actually be what we think will be the best life for it. It is. And I think also continuously monitoring all the welfare of all of the cats in our care, and doing that really methodically and objectively by assessing its quality of life at any given time. And I think just on a personal level, in a way, you know, cat-friendly solutions and the principles gave me permission to accept that we can't help all cats, and not getting ourselves into a situation where potentially we're battling, you know, overcrowding. And, you know, not taking a cat in immediately used to make me feel very guilty. And I've grown as an individual, and you've helped me with that. And now we've actually been able to lower the numbers of cats in our centers, and because that we're actually helping more.
And that's really interesting. That's one of the elements of cat-friendly homing that people find quite counterintuitive. And that idea that actually you care for fewer cats at any one time, but ultimately that enables you to help more cats in the long term. How do you explain that to people to get them on board when you're training your own staff?
It is counterintuitive, and I didn't quite believe it at first until we did it ourselves. But being a good animal welfare practitioner means identifying our available resources at any given time, and that can change, you know, as time goes on. And that, you know, resources are finances, or number of staff and volunteers, number of pens, etc. And really committing to work within those resources. And we know that a cat in a pen, or a cage, or, you know, wherever it might be, that's not a good life for a cat. It presents a lot of challenges for a cat, even if perhaps they appear to be doing okay. And we know the longer a cat is in a cattery, the more likely it is to get sick, and the more likely it is to feel stress and then distress. And of course, overcrowding of cats, particularly sick and stressed cats, also has a really high impact on our people feeling stretched and stressed themselves. So we actually found that lowering the number of cats we have in our care at any given time, we were able to help far more, and it benefited not only the cat, but also, you know, our team of staff and volunteers.
So working in this way really is kind to cats, and it's kind to people too, really, isn't it?
It really is. It really is. Yeah.
What do you, I know you very kindly had a look at our website content for us. Do you think that's going to be helpful for people we're asking people to evolve for cats. We're asking them to be excited about, certainly being proud of what they do well, but being excited about, going from good to even better. Are there any elements of the website in particular that you like?
All of them. Yes, in short. What I would give to go back and start my journey working with cats again and have this program have existed then, it would have helped so much. And I think the best part for me is that it's all there. All the resources are there, the knowledge, the experience, the case studies, the learning tools, and it's, you've presented it really simply. It's methodical, it's very user-friendly, it's practical. And the thing I think that I love best about it is that it's essentially a giant toolbox. And anyone who wants to learn or evolve or try things out, you can just reach in and pick up and put down the different tools that you like. It's not prescriptive. So for example, while we employ all of the principles of Battersea, without a doubt, because that's it's fundamentally what's most important. Like admitting wisely, finding out as much as you can, treating each cat as an individual, etc. We do actually apply some of them in our own way that works best for us. So yes, it's not prescriptive. It could help anyone. I champion it wholeheartedly. I'm grateful to it. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lindsay. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you today.
My pleasure. Thank you, Vicky.
And we move straight on to my next guest, Maggie from Cats Protection here in the UK, who has recently had the experience of being on both sides of the adoption process. Hello, Maggie. Thanks ever so much for joining me today. I wanted to speak to you with both your hats on, really. And by that, I mean your role in the Cats Protection, but also as a recent adopter of two, might I say, extremely large cats that are appearing behind you, Ross and Aidan. Now, in cat-friendly homing, we really emphasize how important it is to treat each cat as an individual and get to know them so that you can fulfill their specific needs of a future home. So, and I know you agree with this. So how do you achieve that within the Cats Protection?
Well, we do cat matching as much as we possibly can. Obviously, we ask potential owners what they're interested in, what sort of cat, but also about their home, their family, etc. Really just so we can try and match appropriately. So it is things like, for older people, sometimes having a kitten might mean it gets under their feet, or, they're not really up for having something quite so active. So perhaps a more mature cat that sits on their lap is more appropriate. Have they got outside space? Because obviously if we've got young active cats, it's good if we can let them go outside. Obviously some people have an indoor only environment, and we don't have any really hard and fast rules, but on the whole we would try to put a cat there that can't go out for various reasons. So we try to do matching, and obviously sometimes people see videos or pictures on our websites and want a particular cat. And sometimes it's a case of talking them round if it's not one that's appropriate. And some things are, as you know, really difficult to judge when they come into care. Some cats will seem very fearful, but actually once they're in a home, they're okay. Some of them have lived with a dog before, but actually that doesn't mean necessarily that they like every other dog. So we do the matching as best we can, but we do follow up, so we see how things are getting on afterwards. Interestingly, over lockdown, we've been doing hands-free homing, so people haven't actually met the cats in advance, but we have lots of conversations and get them to fill in surveys. And we've been doing more follow-up than we normally would do. And our return rate has decreased. And I'm sure it's because we're doing more follow-up. So I think to me that really demonstrated how important that support afterwards is. And particularly doing it quite soon after they've got the cats, so that rather than problems starting to seem big, we can hopefully nip them in the bud. So we've had very, very few returns, which is fantastic. And it's worked remarkably well.
That's really interesting, isn't it? How to something, you know, so challenging as a pandemic, actually find out something that, and I agree with you, it's that initial few days maybe where the cat is adjusting, and maybe the new owner has quite unrealistic expectations sometimes of how quickly the cat will adjust. And then to be able to have somebody from the Cats Protection phone up and say, oh, that's perfectly normal, that's okay, how are you getting on, and that sort of thing. So as far as Ross and Aidan are concerned, I mean, obviously I'm looking at them now and they're incredibly handsome.
Yes,
but what was it in particular that attracted you to Ross and Aidan?
So I did want younger cats. I mean, I didn't want kittens because I know that we home kittens with no problems at all. So I wanted young adult cats. I did quite want a sibling pair, and that was for me because I like having 2 cats. I don't think I'd ever have 3 cats again, because I think I live in quite a small terraced house, but I have good outdoor space. So I did want a bonded pair. So those were our criteria. What I also wanted, and this is really because of my role at Cats Protection, is I wanted black or black and white cats, because we know statistically they take the longest time to home, and it was almost a bit of a lead by example thing. And where I live, I've got hedges and fields behind the house, so it's ideal for young active cats. So it just seemed that they were the right cats for me.
It does strike me though that you know, they fulfilled your needs and you fulfilled theirs. It sounds like you've got the perfect environment for them. So I wish you many, many happy years with the very handsome Ross and Aidan. I think, Maggie, you've really, what we're trying to do today is get people excited about finding out more, and also creating this community of people who can reach across the different parts of the world and actually join together, sharing support, share information, share knowledge, and just realize that, and you and I know this, every day is a school day in this business when you're working with cats. So that's very much what we're trying to do. Thank you so much, Maggie, for talking to me today, and thank you for all your encouragement, for everything that International Cat Care are doing to support people who work with unowned cats across the world. So thank you, and goodbye to Ross and Aidan as well.
Yes, thank you, Vicky. It's a pleasure to talk to you. So that's a very quick tour of the website content and the new course Bringing Cat-Friendly Solutions to Life, but it doesn't stop there. Together we can do so much for cat welfare. We can spread the word, we can connect with others, we can commit to evolving for the sake of cats and learn new things, gain new knowledge, and make changes to the way we work to go from good to even better. iCat Care really want to support you, so with that in mind, we have created a programme specially for those of you who work with unowned pet cats in homing centres or foster networks, wherever you are in the world. A test cohort will be on this programme from February 2021, and places will be open from August 2021 onwards. Let me tell you about Becoming a Cat-Friendly Homing Centre programme to be launched in August next year on International Cat Day. The Cat-Friendly Solutions for Unowned Cats website content is the main resource required for the course. Plus, we do ask you to complete the Bringing Cat-Friendly Solutions to Life free online course. The English is simple, easy to understand for those with English as a second language. The programme enables you to enhance your way of working in real time as you go through each section. You will have a coach to support you with any changes that need to be made. You will see the positive impact of the cat-friendly ethos and learn how to maintain your new way of working for the future. If you don't have a homing centre, don't worry. This is applicable to all situations, whether you have a physical building or foster network, whether you work alone or in a group. If you work in a team,
the decision maker of your organisation needs to be with you to enable you to make changes to achieve your goals. The programme isn't difficult. There are lots of easy wins, low cost, low effort changes with positive impact. You set your own goals, so you can make it as challenging or straightforward as you like. It works for people who are not used to learning or haven't formally learned anything for years. This programme rewards you for what you do well and allows you to choose what you wish to improve. You set your own cat-friendly homing goals. Your coach will be supportive, kind and full of positive encouragement. Don't forget, you are going from good to even better. You will be doing specific activities in the workplace as part of the programme, and we provide you with lots of templates and aids to help you complete the work. Once done, your work is stored in a portfolio to showcase your achievements. You'll be involved in forum discussions with the other participants online, and you'll keep a reflective journal about your experience. You can also have one-to-one sessions with your coach if you want them. Don't worry about all the other work you have to do with the cats while you're doing this programme. It's designed specifically to be done comfortably alongside your daily work. Your coach will be there to prevent you from becoming overwhelmed by making sure your goals are realistic given your normal workload. The programme takes 20 weeks, with an extra couple of weeks for those who need it for catch-up. On completion, you will continue contact with everyone on your programme and join the emerging community of people who are evolving for cats. This programme has lots of input from highly skilled and experienced coaches, but we are trying to keep the cost as low as possible for you. We're working on pricing right now and we'll let you know soon. Many of those who have followed cat-friendly homing principles have found monetary savings to the running of their centre as a result. So if you want to evolve for cats, register your interest for the programme starting August 2021 by following the link on the Cat Friendly Solutions for Unowned Cats section on iCatCare's website. Let me introduce you to Sophia, who has very kindly agreed to test this programme for us. Hi Sophia, lovely to see you. Thank you very much for joining me, and thank you on behalf of International Cat Care for agreeing to be part of the test group for this amazing transformational programme, Becoming a Cat-Friendly Homing Centre. So firstly, can you tell me a bit about your work currently?
Yeah, hi Vicky. First of all, thank you, and thanks to ICC for the invitation. We are really, really happy to have the opportunity of participating in this program and be part of this amazing cat society. So my name is Sofia Reis. I'm representing Animais de Rua from Portugal. And well, I'm doing project management at the time, but I started as a trapper. I love the field work, but we have a lot of other work we need to do. Animais de Rua is an organization that helps thousands of stray animals in Portugal, neutering them so they don't reproduce, providing medical care when they are sick, and feeding them. So we promote through TNR, or at least we try a peaceful coexistence between animals and people, respecting both animals' welfare and public health.
Great, that sounds amazing. What do you feel personally will be the benefits of being part of this test cohort?
Well, being one of the first organizations involved in this program, it's a privilege. And we are not a homing center, but we work as a foster network. So I think we will be able to bring to our country incredible knowledge and be able to share it with other animal welfare organizations. So we will contribute for sure for the development of more adapted policies to needs of cats in our country and even around the world, and find, or at least try to find, more cat-friendly solutions for the unknown cats in Portugal.
That sounds amazing. I'm very excited. So what about the prospect of actually changing your way of working during the course of the program? I mean, is that scary?
Well, it's not scary, but exciting and enthusiastic, I guess. And at the same time, the perspective of learning more and more. I mean, it's evolution. And even if it brings you some adaptations and restructuring of your work and on your way of thinking, I see it in a very positive way. I'm really excited.
You and me both. So I'm really excited too. What is it about the program in particular that excites you?
To be honest, it's the way or to know what's the best strategy to use in different kind of cats. I mean, depending on if it's a feral, a pet, or an in-betweener. Because in-betweeners, I'm a biologist, so I love to study behavior, and in-betweeners are a poorly understood group for us. Well, not only for us, but for me, one of the most important topic to reach, because we already developed TNR programs for the ferals, and we do have adoption programs for pets, but no one really knows in Portugal how to deal with in-betweeners. And we still see a lot of cats, well, without any potential for adoption, living a lifetime unhappy in a shelter, and well, already crowded with other animals. So I guess there's an urgent need to change this. And this program will bring us a lot of tools to deal with this complex subject. So for me, the in-betweeners will be the most important topic, let's say.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me today, Sophia.
Thank you.
Just on behalf of International Cat Care, but on behalf of cats around the world. And a message for the other test cohort members who I hope are watching today: Marnie, Ginny, Hayley and Jan from the UK, Justina from Poland, Alessandra from Romania, Sonia from Goa, and Itzel and Lydia from Mexico. I am so excited at the prospect of working with you all and getting to know you. Let's hope you'll be the first of many organisations and individuals doing the programme and evolving for cats. Thank you so much, Sophia.
Thank you, Vicky.
If you're interested in being in the first programme in August next year, please get in touch if you want to know more. We are now approaching the end of our time together, but the one thing that's missing for me is you. So it's over to you to ask any questions you like about the website, the course, or any Unowned cat related topics. So get those questions coming. Here are a few words from our patrons.
We are incredibly excited about this new resource, Cat-Friendly Solutions for Unowned Cats, for many reasons, but not least of which is the fact that we are proud caretakers of 7 neutered free-living cats.
We recognise that working with unowned cats is tough and can be very stressful. We all need support and reassurance at times, and a place to find it.
Building the collaborative community that Vicky describes can provide that support. For us to evolve for the sake of cats, we need to appreciate where we are now and not be afraid to recognise that we can always learn more.
So please make a start today and join our community by following us on social media, signing up to the newsletter, leave your mark on the world map on the website, and please take the course.
So thank you for joining us today, and thank you for all the work you are doing with and for cats.
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Ellis from International Cat Care, and I'm delighted to be here today to chair our live Q&A with Vicky Halls and Kim Horsford. They are the developers of the content of the new website. I really hope you've enjoyed listening all about it today. I know I certainly have. So this is the first time you'll have seen Kim. So the first thing I'd like to do is pass over to her so she can introduce herself.
Hi, welcome, and it's a real pleasure to see everybody joining in with us today. I come from a background of business management, but also cat welfare. I've run TNR programs, and I've also been a chair and trustee of International Cat Care for many years. And Vicky and I have been working on this for what seems like very many years, but we're just absolutely delighted that it's now live and everybody can take advantage of it.
Thanks so much, Kim. So we've had lots of questions come in during the course of the live stream, and you can still type in your questions now on that Unowned Cats webpage. Anything at all about Unowned Cats or anything specifically about our cat-friendly solutions for unowned cats. But without further ado, I'm going to start the questions. Oh, one last thing I will say is we might not be able to get through all of them in this live Q&A, but don't worry. We can type in our answers afterwards. So you can just go back into that link that you clicked on to ask your question, check there, and you'll see we've got a typed answer if we don't manage to give you the answer right now. Okay, so please excuse me as my eyes flit slightly as I look at all the questions. Let's start with quite a broad question for you, Kim and Vicky. And I think one that's really timely at the moment. But what do you think the new normal will look like after the pandemic for our unowned cat world?
Shall I take this one, Kim?
Please do, yeah. I'll add something if I feel like it.
Okay, go for it. Great question. And I think that something good has got to come out of the pandemic. And one thing that has certainly that has been evidence is the fact that people have adapted very quickly in this business. They've had to, with regard to how they've managed the street cats and their managed TNR colonies, and also how they've managed cats and kittens in homing centres. And one thing that a lot of places had to do very quickly is get all of their cats and kittens out to foster care and out of the centres. And also then, of course, they have to think about, well, we still need homes for the cats and kittens, and also people wanted to adopt new pets while they were at home in lockdown and what have you. And I think that that was achieved by some very forward-thinking places by doing the adoptions virtually. So people weren't even meeting the pets beforehand, and then they were getting a new pet. And I think Maggie alluded to this during her interview earlier about, since they've been doing virtual adoptions, they've been doing lots of home checks afterwards, sort of shortly after the adoption date, saying, you know, how's it all going? And they've noticed a big reduction in their return rate. So I suspect that when all this is behind us, we think about what's good for the cats, and people will probably say, well, if we can get cats into foster homes, if we can do virtual adoptions, it's a really good way of managing your limited resources. And I wonder whether we're going to, post-pandemic, say, do you know what, I think we'll keep some of these things going because they seem to be better for the welfare of unowned pet cats. What do you think, Kim?
I agree, and I also think there's a great opportunity for home-to-home adoptions.
Yeah.
So cats that then you can go into a foster home, they just get put online from their existing home and then go to their new home. I think that's great for cats.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know myself. I have become a foster carer during the lockdown period. I haven't been one for many years, and back being one again has been the most enjoyable experience. And I think it's interesting, isn't it, how, this pandemic, it's so negative in so many ways, but a positive from it is across the world, we're all experiencing the same thing at the same time. So it's a really good way almost of us having that empathy and becoming together as a community. So great. Right, let's go into some specific questions now. We've got some really interesting ones. And I really like this question because I think it's lots of people are in this position, and it shows the willingness of people to really want to help. We've got a lady who said, what can I do for feral cats? I don't have much energy due to health issues, but I really, really want to help. So she wants to do something. What can she do to help our unowned cats?
I'll take that because I've done quite a lot of work with unowned cats. And I think one of the key things we emphasize is the importance of being organized and engaging with your community. Before you even, think about trapping, you need to make sure you've got the things you need. So for somebody who maybe doesn't have the resources to go out trapping and doing sort of physical work, there's great opportunity to be involved in that kind of community activity. So, even at the moment doing it virtually, engage with your community, find out who's involved with the cats, find out what your legal situation is, find out what veterinary resources you have, and start to get together a group of people who can all sort of support each other and do it as a team. It's a community effort. It's not one person's job to sort it all out. And I think that's really important. So I think, from the privacy of your home online, you can just start up a support group and let it grow naturally from there.
Absolutely. Even just being on the end of the phone for those people that are out in the field doing it, you're a valuable part of that team, aren't you?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Great. We've got a question here from somebody in Spain who's saying they'd like to get some routine neutering systems set up in their village. They're a vet nurse and they'd like to know how to go about that.
I think that really the previous question feeds into this one as well, because it is about joining up with other people, and you can achieve so much more in your community if you do it as a joint effort. So as Kim said to the lady before, this particular person is a veterinary nurse, really incredibly useful skills. So maybe her role would be actually engaging with the local vets and say, right, we want to do this program, we need your support. And she could maybe sort of coordinate that. But again, it's so much of this, so much of work with unowned cats in your community is about organization. And so much work is done before you go anywhere near a cat. You have to count your colony, you have to plan where and how you're going to trap, you have to get people on the ground to care for them after the TNR program. So I think that if she looks at our website, she will see a sort of step-by-step guide of what you do from the very first moment you think, I think these cats need my help. So it's all there on the website. And I would just encourage her to read through it and then say, right, how am I going to engage my community?
Fantastic. It's great we've got that all in just one place, isn't it? Super duper. We've had a number of questions sort of around this theme, so I'm going to kind of group them together, but it's about our in-betweeners that we were introduced to. Lots of people are recognizing that they have had experience of in-betweeners or they've currently got one in their care, but there's some concerns around what happens if they wrongly identify a cat as an in-betweener and they rehome it to an environment such as a farm or somewhere with a bit more of an outdoor environment, and it ends up actually a really well socialized pet cat. It just wasn't showing itself as that during that sort of assessment period. What can we do in that kind of situation, and how's that a worry for us?
I think that the important thing to remember is we don't intentionally get it wrong sometimes. We do the very best with the information we have to make an assessment about a cat. So we may, with all the information we have available, say, I think this cat is an in-betweener. We find it at a home, a farm home or whatever, and then you get that phone call from the farmer saying, I thought you said this was an in-betweener. This cat's trying to break into my kitchen, wants to be cuddled. I think that I would rather that situation than the other situation where the in-betweener has not been identified and it genuinely is an in-betweener and you put it into a pet cat home. So in those situations, and it has happened in programs, certainly within the UK, where organisations have got in-betweener programs and they've had that phone call from the farmer to say, this cat's coming in, it loves the children or whatever. What's happened is individual conversations have taken place and they've said, okay, does he seem in every other way happy? Yes. Do you mind him coming in the kitchen? Actually, no. And it could be that cat then remains in that sort of indoor-outdoor circumstance. But if that person says, this isn't really the cat I wanted, I didn't want one coming indoors, then now you know a bit more about that cat, you might then say, okay, well, let's see if we can meet this cat's needs better now that this is part of their personality that they've shown us. Every cat is an individual, and sometimes you have to tweak things if you get a bit more information, and every bit of information helps you do the right thing by the cat. So I wouldn't worry about that one. I think you just meet it head on, case by case.
I totally agree with that, Vicky. I think it's always about us being adaptive, isn't it? And not feeling that we've got something wrong. It's just about we've got more info, so we'll change. And it reminds me of a story one of our advocates told me a few years ago, where they had rehomed a cat that they thought was an in-betweener to a warehouse, actually, where there was lots of people working, but the cat had its own space, and they fed it and they provided it shelter. But this cat constantly turned up in the office and was demanding cuddles. And actually, one of the staff members took it home, and it became a very happy pet cat. And they then got another in-betweener, a true in-betweener this time. So actually, they'd ended up rehoming 2 cats to the right environment for them. So it was a really nice story. It's always stuck with me, that one.
Great story.
Now, this is an interesting one. This is a question, I guess, more for in our cat-friendly homing centres. Somebody's asking about the fact that we tend to house cats in our centres in these sort of pods or small areas, sometimes with a larger external area or even a larger internal area. In the UK, we often call them runs. But they're asking, would there be any benefit to using a secondary outside space if they had that, to give the cat a greater physical space? Do we see any benefit in that?
I think there may be an advantage in that, but as I'm hearing the question, I'm thinking with my cat-friendly homing hat on, I would put my absolute utmost efforts into finding the home for that cat. Because I know sometimes people say, well, for long stayers, can we give them a bit more exercise and everything? I would I'd frame that differently, and I'd maybe say, well, if that cat's a long stayer, what's holding it up? What's preventing that cat from getting a home? Maybe we can focus on a campaign to get that cat a home. Does it have any specific needs? How can we ensure those needs are met? I'd almost put my effort into that rather than building this secondary run, which may have to be used for multiple cats. Then you have to consider disease, transmission and things. So I think probably I would frame that dilemma slightly differently. What do you think, Kim?
I agree, and I also think there's a little bit of an issue in sort of having separate exercise areas for cats where you have to physically move them, and they don't have a choice about that. And you might be moving them to go into the run, and they might be just ready to go to sleep or want to do something else. So it's very difficult to predict when a cat, and we all have cats that want to go out for 5 minutes and then come back in again. So I think sort of forcing cats into an exercise area, they're not like dogs, it doesn't really work.
I agree. I think probably that's something that I think needs more thought, and maybe thinking a bit laterally about the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. So I'm going to jump you back now to feral cats. Sorry, I'm flitting you here, there and everywhere, really testing your brains today. And this is a question about the ear tipping procedure for feral cats once they've been neutered, so we can identify that they've been neutered. Is there an international consensus on that procedure? For example, the shape, the size, which ear we do. This person is in Madrid, and they do a straight horizontal cut on the left ear for males and on the right for females. But they'd really like to know, is there something international that we could get everybody working towards?
That's interesting, isn't it, Kim? Because we talk about a left ear and we don't say left for males, right for... So there's a difference straight away. So I've just learned something new. Every day truly is a school day. Kim, do you want to answer this question?
Yeah, I think, yes, it would be great if we could all agree on international standard. I don't know that should stop us from, within our communities agreeing a standard way of doing it. And I think that's the critical thing, is if you're in an area and you're doing TNR, you have to all use the same method. Because realistically, it doesn't matter if I recognize, an ear tip in one country or another. What's important is I recognize them in my area. I don't really see any great advantage to differentiating between males and females. It doesn't make much difference. The critical thing is that, and the idea of the sort of horizontal tip is that it's very visible, very clear, it's very straight, so it's not a fight injury or anything like that. And you can see it at a distance, and you can see it in the dark and in poor light. And the reason we do it is because it makes cats' lives much easier, as well as our own. They don't end up getting retrapped, knocked out, and examined to see whether or not they've been spayed or neutered. Yeah. So my advice would be stick to a standard way in your particular area.
Yep, makes complete sense to me. Great. I really like this question. This one's coming from Mexico. And I think it's something we get asked a lot about our work at International Cat Care, about how we can make sure that we are empathetic to wildlife as well. So we've got a question here about how can cat-friendly solutions for unowned cats also be wildlife friendly? Okay, so beyond solutions, better solutions beyond TNR that do not prevent depredation of wildlife by cats.
This is a brilliant question.
Isn't it?
And I will pass over to Kim on this because this is Kim's area, but I think I was thinking about this morning, actually, funnily enough, just thinking how sometimes TNR isn't what's required in certain situations. And I'm very conflicted about it. But I do understand that we have to protect as best we can all species. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that means that very difficult decisions are going to be made. I'm going to stop there and pass over to Kim.
Yeah, I think I would still go back to the original sort of headline, which is if you're going to do anything, it's got to be a full community effort. So, it's especially even more so where wildlife issues are concerned, because it has to be everyone in the community involved. It has to be, if you're going to do anything to control the population or even remove the cat population, it has to be a unanimous decision. Everyone has to cooperate. It only takes one cat, one person to sort of, break the rules, and suddenly you have population explosion all over again. So it has to be a community effort. I think there are, TNR works, and I've worked in a sort of setting on an island with a bird population where there were issues with predation on wild birds. And TNR does work, but it takes time. But if you don't have time, if it's a critical issue, then your only options are the trapping, the neutering, and the rehoming, so relocating the cat somewhere else. And that's not easy, and that has all of its issues, both for the cats and people themselves. And sometimes we do have to make the difficult decision to trap and humanely, just sort of euthanize cats and reduce the population that way. But it has to be a complete operation. It can't be a half-hearted one. It can't be, oh, let's, do that cat because it's a particular issue in this area. It has to be all cats, because if there's vulnerable wildlife that is easily predated on by cats, another cat will just turn up and do the same thing. And rather than doing it one cat at a time, an overarching solution is the best way to go. But I do think you have to be very clear about what you're doing, and you have to have everyone on board, particularly the cat lovers. You have to get their cooperation. They have to understand. Yeah. Maybe they have to keep their pets in, particularly at certain times of the year.
And I think recognizing that many cat lovers are wildlife lovers too.
Absolutely.
It's really a really good starting place, isn't it? Mm. Okay, I'm going to jump back to our in-betweeners and back to cats living in homes or more closely to homes. This is a question that's come from somebody, and actually I think it's a question that we hear quite a lot about people who hadn't intended to get an in-betweener. It wasn't what they set out to get, and it hadn't been identified as that. They wanted a pet cat that could live in their home, but actually that they start to see that cat's not relaxing as much in their home or being as interactive as they thought, and they're starting to think, I think I've actually got an in-betweener living with me. And wondering how they can make that cat's life as positive as possible with them in their home.
Bless. Do you know what? That is a fairly common situation. And I don't think we should be crestfallen or panic if we actually identify, I think that my cat's not getting nearly as much out of this relationship as I'd like them to. I think that once we've recognized it, there is a way that we can cohabit comfortably, but we really have to take the heat off We have to not stare at our cat, not try and actively relate or communicate with the cat, but step back and allow the cat to actually tell us when they want something from us. I think in a situation where the cat can have access outside, I think to give them freedom of choice to choose when they remove themselves from our company from that distance. If that isn't possible, then making sure as much of the home is accessible to the cat as possible. And also to just say, if you want time out from me, I'm not even going to go looking for you. I'm going to know you're okay, and you'll come to me if you want something. I think keeping the provision of resources, I think Naima alluded to this when she was talking to us about Jarvis, our in-betweener, making the resources, toilet facilities, food and water available in predictable places on a predictable routine, and just being there but not focusing on the cat. And sometimes when you take that focus off the cat and sort of psychologically make that decision, right, we're going to cohabit like house share here, if you want anything from me, you need to let me know. It puts the cat back in control, so the cat feels more comfortable and more confident to actually move about the home in a more relaxed way. And then potentially the relationship may even develop, and I've seen this happen many times, with the cat allowing it to develop at the cat's pace. And I think that if people are prepared to say, look, this isn't a problem, this is just recognizing you for who you are, so I'm going to relate to you as you would want me to. And then surprisingly, relationships can improve enormously.
Absolutely. I hear you. The words predictability and control are really shining out there.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
Sorry, go on.
Say it's a bit, well, having lived with one, I would say that they're a little bit like living with a moody teenager. You know, sometimes they want your attention, and other times, you know, you just get a grunt and then they disappear.
Slightly less messy, though.
Well, depends on the cat.
Well, on that note, I'm sad to say we're going to have to end our Q&A there, despite the fact we've still got lots more questions. So thank you everyone who sent in your questions. Those that we didn't manage to answer, don't worry. Vicky and Kim will get onto those, and they will type up the responses so you'll be able to see them. But I'm going to say goodbye to both of you now. And I think, Vicky, you're going to carry on with the Padlet now, aren't you?
I am, yes. Okay. Kim and Sarah, can you see this?
Yes.
Lovely. So here is the map now. Let's see whether we've got some more. There they all are. It's just looking amazing. I can't tell you. I'm so pleased with what everybody has been able to do to tell us all about the work they're doing. Let's just have a look at the numbers. Wow. 697 posts. Sorry, that came and disappeared very quickly, which is wonderful. And I've read every single post. I've replied to every single post. I love the photos. I love the work you're doing. Don't stop now. Keep on putting posts and encouraging other people you know to put posts onto our website, because we want to hear from you. And we want you to be proud of what you're doing, and we want you to tell everybody else about what you're doing. I think that's really important. And thank you so much for what you've all done and so far, but keep them coming. So I just want to say it's been absolutely great to be with you today, to share this exciting news and hopefully inspire you to learn more and reach out to each other. You're all doing an amazing job, and the welfare of so many cats is in your hands. Be loud and proud about what you've achieved, but for the sake of cats, aspire with the support of others to evolve from great to even better, as even little changes can make a difference to the species we all care about so much. So join us, go to the website, sign up for our newsletter, and be part of a new global community committed to evolve for cats. I look forward to meeting you all. Goodbye for now.